Welcome, welcome, welcome. We back at it again. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. I got a special guest coming out of Minnesota that's going to be sharing her wisdom about just being in the hair industry, the growth. Um, Been in the industry, I think, almost 26 years as a hairstylist. So that's a bunch of knowledge that we about to give out today. Um, but you know how I do. I let the Instagram shoot out his notification, let people know that your boy once again, Garcia the barber, is going to be on Instagram, his live, speaking to everyone that enjoys our industry so much, that's been following my platform. Dang, how long has it been now? I think going on 3 years, maybe 3-ish, 4-ish years now of me doing this and sitting down with so many people globally. So that's been awesome to, have so many different people from all aspects of our industry, from hairstylists, barbers, to come on here, share as much information as they can to people that are wondering more about our industry, how it's shifting, how has it grown from the 90s, mid 2000s into where we at now. So sit back, hope you enjoy, keep shooting out the message, letting people know what we doing, what am I doing, how I'm, always the first thing to the key to this is unity, unifying our industry, sharing information that I would love to have once gathered myself when I first got into the industry, but to see everybody coming in now and doing what we doing and how it's flourishing in so many directions, it's an amazing thing. So, like I said, shoot it out, let everybody know. IG people, my IG fans, my IG loved ones. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep pushing it. But yeah, let's give it a minute. I know I'm starting at 11, so I'm gonna start at 11. So if you need to go get something to drink, get something to snack on, you're welcome to do that. All right, Kyra, I see you on. So I will be now sending you the link so you can jump onto the live. Receiving the notification saying you can join it.
Hey, hey.
Hello,
How
hello.
are you?
You're looking amazing.
Oh, hey, thanks.
How's your day so far?
Oh, it's been good. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, how about yours? Sorry I messaged you at like 3 a.m.
oh no, no
My
worries,
bad.
no worries, no worries.
Oh, so
I'm
funny.
glad that we are able to, speak
Yeah,
with each other. Even though we're so much far away, we
I
seem
know.
like we're so close with,
Yeah.
social media giving us a chance to connect in so many ways. So
Yeah.
this is an honor for me to have you on my platform. And
Thank
I'm
you.
looking forward to speaking to you about your journey in this industry, how it all started to where it is now.
Yeah.
So first off, share your name, share your location, and also share, your profession.
Okay. My name is Carrie Lazzarino, and I am out in central Minnesota. I've been out here for 7 years, originally from where you're at, California, the Central Coast, really, Carmel, Monterey area, and then up to Chico the last 21 years. So, yeah, I've been out here though, and yeah, loving what I do. I went to beauty college back in like high school.
Okay.
My high school offered an ROP program, so I did it as a high school junior and then graduated high school and then finished it up about a year later. So yeah, been doing it a
That's
while.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's it's so different now. I went to a lot of public schools, but I also went to my final years at a private school, so I know a lot of programs wasn't like the same that you would get if you had went to a public school,
Right.
and it's funny now, like when I got into the hair industry, and then I was noticing a lot of high schoolers was in the program,
Yep.
and I didn't even know they were still in high school, and I'd be
Eh,
like, I know they're young,
yeah.
and I could see it in their face, and then I'm like, so. Uh, are you like just got out of high school? You trying to decide out of college in the hair industry, and they be like, no, I'm still in high
Right.
school. This is my
Yep.
next. I love cutting hair. I cut my friends' hair at school, and I
Yeah.
just thought, my next move would be to, just get my license, and I can use this to, catapult any to something else that I want to do. But right now,
Yeah.
I love the industry. So
Yeah.
to hear that your school gave you the opportunity to, have one stepping stone into the real world.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah. No, it was really nice. Like for me to go into hair, my aunt, my godmom, she owned a hair salon back home. And so like I was always in her hair salon with my cousin and with my mom and brother. And so I was always like one foot in the industry. So it was just like a natural stepping stone, if you will, for me to just get into hair. And I'll be honest, I was a high schooler, so getting out of school at lunch hour probably was like a big thing. It was
Yeah.
either like cosmetology, bank lending, or floristry or something. And I
Yeah.
was like, what should I do? So here it was. And no, it's been good. You know how people always say it's a great fallback career, but like in all honesty, I mean, you're already a barber, and like we talked today, going through
Yeah.
the crossover program. It's not a fallback. And forever, for everybody that really thinks that, it is, I mean, I think as hairstylists and barbers, we need to do better our due diligence as far as like with our taxes and whatnot, because I know there's times where you maybe don't claim every single thing that you make. And so it does look like we don't make a lot, but we all know that it's a six-figure earning job. Like you definitely can do that within the first like year or two. If you play your cards right, you absolutely can.
Yeah. And for myself, um, I've been in the corporate world before I even took a chance in this area. I worked in the corporate world for 11 years, and you didn't really think about, for me, like I grew up in the inner city, so going to the barbershop, you had that atmosphere where you with the
Yep.
guys, and you talk and you talk about sports, you talk about
Yeah.
life in general, and everything else that goes
Yes.
on in the but you never have, the peers in there coming to us and saying, "Oh, you ever thought about, joining the hair industry? Have you ever thought being a barber?" You just come in, get a haircut, chop,
Yeah.
and leave.
Right.
Where, you're in your inner circle of your friends or maybe your family, and they're telling you, "Oh no, you need to go get a 9 to 5. You need to,
Right.
go into the corporate world. You need to, make sure you get the benefits, and
Yeah.
you get that 401k and then all that stuff." Like they're telling you that,
Right.
but you never really had anybody telling you that, yeah, you can make a great business lifestyle
Yep.
in the hair industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, yeah, there's so many avenues now too. I mean, the pandemic taught us a lot that like we could still do hair from, like different ways. Like I know a lot of people that were selling their products, like say their colors. So say for us, like women that have, our hair is gray and how we couldn't go to the salon. So, they would formulate their products and then say, hey, you can pick it up at my doorstep, So I mean, but yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot we can do, and yeah, it's time that people really started like looking at us as just part of that culture. Like
yeah,
we're just as good. We're not like the how you think like hairstylists and barbers, like oh they're whatever. Like we're it's a solid career. I've never honestly I've never questioned it. So I'm really happy with my with
it,
my career choice.
it's honestly, if I'm saying it right, it's very historical. Like if you really learn and understand the whole concept of the beauty industry and where it originally generated from,
Hmm.
understand that it has so many layers. And then now being in the industry, you find out that you give so much as a hairstylist because you're not just someone that's just a hairstylist. You're a
Yeah.
therapist. You're confident. You're mostly everything that somebody needs when they're sitting in your hair, not just oh, I need a haircut. Because
Right.
once you start communicating and start sharing each other, business ideas, experience, and all that stuff like that, you start digging into so many different layers. And
Yeah.
once that gets out of your chair, they feeling like, oh, I just left my best friend, you
You
know?
No, and it's not honestly, that's not everybody. Like I've been to a hair salon where it didn't feel like that. Like I was just a number, I was just a customer. My clients are my friends. In fact, I just took one of my clients, he's like 85 years old. I'll share the picture a little bit later. I just took him to coffee and he was like, I didn't know if you really wanted to have coffee with me. And I'm like, Myron, I wouldn't have asked you otherwise. Like he was one of those people that during the pandemic I would call and check on just to make sure he was okay.
Yeah.
And he's at like a nursing home and he drives himself and he does all that. And I was like, yeah, let's just go. And so we went and had coffee and we sat for 45 minutes. And he said, you know what? He's like, you have been such a help to me. He said, after my wife died, I didn't realize the 5 stages of grieving. And he said, the librarian gal up at the library helped him. And he said, I helped him. And he
Yeah.
said, when I walk away from being with you, and I could see tears in his eyes, and I was just like, oh my God. And he's like, you just make me feel so much better. And he calls me Crazy Carrie. Like he's just, which sometimes I am. And I got to give a shout out. My boyfriend is on here. He has a podcast. So the Stupidest Podcast, he is on here. That is my boyfriend, Justin
Okay.
Vandy Benner. So just, that's him. So if you see that, and anyway, just had to say that. But anyway, back to Myron. It made me feel good that he said that. And so I know I am a different kind of breed. I'm not the same hairstylist or barber like that. I have empathy for my friends, and I mean they really are my friends, like
Yeah.
100%. Like they're my friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, I love it. Made me feel good, you
I
know?
know we was just, this getting the atmosphere up and running, but
Yeah.
let's tune it back a little bit, turn it back a little bit. So let's talk about what I know you expressed when I was in school. This was a curriculum that I took, but
Yep.
what kept you going? And I think you mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, you had family that was already in the
Yeah.
industry already.
Yes.
So I'm seeing how it worked out for them, and then you give them the opportunity through school
Yeah.
to take on this new stage of life.
Yeah.
What kept you going?
In all honesty, like I feel like failure isn't an option
Okay.
with me, like it's not. And beauty college was hard. Like when I went to school, it was the 2 hours a day that they required in high school to go. And that was rough. Like they didn't like we had our theory class in the back room and then we then you were on the floor and it wasn't like I didn't really learn a whole lot. It wasn't until I went to my second one that I really started learning, and even then I was kind of behind the eight ball because I had like 6 months of work to get done in like 4 months because
Okay.
I just didn't learn a whole lot in beauty college. So but yeah, I'm a single mom, and I have a great support system with like my boyfriend, with like my friends, my family. But in all honesty, I had to just keep on doing it, and it's been hard. Like sometimes I'm like, oh my God, am I going to do this for 10, 15 more years? I'm tired, but I just got to, I got to. No other option. No
I,
other option.
I seen a post to one of my classmates, and he's an awesome barber. Like even when we was in school, he already had like a full lineup of his clients that would come to the school,
That's
and he
cool.
was like do his like
Yeah.
his regular barbering job, but still participate
Wow.
in school and do what he had to do to get his license.
Yeah.
So college graduated from I think Morehouse and everything like that.
Wow.
He was like, I want to say it was like a hobby for him, but it was like, just a stepping stone to in case he decided he wanted to do something else. And I think he wrote on his page the other day, it's funny that I took this as something other than what I made it to be, because now I'm understanding that I don't see myself doing anything else.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's crazy to know that, in this industry or the way it was portrayed in the beginning to where it's at now, especially with social media, because you got so many different influencers, people
Yep.
that are speaking about the industry, and you have the positive and anything, you're gonna have the negative,
True.
but it's showing that what I take more of is the positive, that
Yeah.
this is our opportunity to take care of yourself, take care of your family,
Yeah.
and build from it.
Right.
And when I was talking to you, that you said, even though I specialize in cosmetology, I also combine it with barbering now.
Correct.
And I know we want to express more on that. That don't limit yourself. Don't
Right.
see yourself just doing one
Right.
thing when you have, especially if you went to school and you opened that book. It showed you
Right.
some layers
Right.
and chapters, everything that you can add to your resume
Right.
or arsenal, as we should
Yeah,
say.
it's true. It's true.
Yeah, and I want you to talk about it. I want to talk about, like, what made you decide that, oh, I want to add, barbering to
Barbering. I mean, in all honesty, kind of the way that was is when I went out and I got my first job. I worked near like I told you earlier, I worked near a prison in outside of Sacramento, and so really just getting comfortable with all those skin fades and the guys, and I really like the atmosphere. And also too, I have a really short attention span, so for me, 20-30 minutes of one person is kind of good because I'm already like, what else can I talk about? What else can we get to? So for me, that was kind of it too. But I just found like I was good at it. And so, just that. And so then also too, I had been dating a guy that had a barbershop. And so, he taught me, like I told you earlier, a lot of tricks of the trade and just really the atmosphere of what like barbering was, the lingo and things like that. It's totally different than in a hair salon. And really, I don't fit like when I was in beauty college, I didn't pay attention to hair color. Like I knew enough to like pass, obviously, to take state boards, but like it's not my repertoire. It's not like what I'm good at. Like what I am good at is like making people feel good and welcome and creating that atmosphere and doing, all the clippering work and just that's and all the new haircuts like the young guys are doing, the fringe, the taper, like that kind of stuff. And and so I really specialize in like what I'm good at. And that seems to be I always tell people too though, like I'm humble, but what I say is I'm decent for where I'm at. Like if I were in the city, like we call it the cities here, in Minnesota, like if I were down there, like I'm good. I'm good for where I'm at. Like I have a great clientele but I mean, I don't know, I'm humble in the same regard. Like I know there's people that are way better than me, but like where I'm at in my community, like I feel really blessed and fortunate for the clients that I do have that trust me. I mean, I'm booking up 2 weeks out. Like I've already turned down multiple clients already today. Like, nah, I'm booked out. I'm booked out. You got to do pre-book, people. And that feels great. That feels really great. I mean, you probably experienced that too, though. I mean, it's really, I think during the pandemic, 20% of a barber's client, cosmos, estheticians, that kind of stuff, they left the industry. Like I questioned leaving, and it's the law of supply and demand. So it's good for us, but it's bad for people that don't pre-book.
Yeah, I definitely,
Pre-book.
for me, to be, strictly honest across the board, I'm very still new in this industry. So
Yeah.
for me, to be in the barber industry and coming in now and seeing the shift with, like, online
Yeah.
booking, a lot of, like, you need to call in before you walk into the shop.
Absolutely.
Like I came in like right of the cuff of into like the whole COVID situation.
Correct.
So I did see, a lot of barbershops that I grew up in or seen around the, the area that I grew up, some that couldn't sustain, like,
Right.
they was like, there, and it seemed like they was very active during the time of before COVID, but once COVID hit, you start seeing like a lot of shops starting to close down. And
Absolutely.
then like once I was able to, get it, feel comfortable at a shop that I wanted to, start myself in, it was like you couldn't have so many people in the shop.
Right.
You Everybody
Yep.
needed to spread it,
And you had to
or
wear
they
like the
or
mask too. Yeah.
stay in the car and then I'll
That
call
was
you up when.
so dumb. I couldn't stand it. And you had to sanitize. Like we're about cleanliness and infection control and whatnot, but like sanitizing everything, like spraying down each and every cape. I mean, it was just like, oh my, like 10 minutes between each client,
Yeah,
and it was like it was
yeah.
rough. And then trying to get around people's ears when they're wearing the mask, and it's just like it was a lot. It was a lot.
It was. It definitely was. Uh, you know, one of my questions that I always like to ask my guests is, the
Hmm.
if factor, and I think you spoke a little bit about that. That if moment, maybe not in your earlier times, but like like I think we spoke like now speaking of COVID and you saying like it took a moment for you to say, okay, I might want to walk away, but I don't want to walk away. What's keeping you now from still sticking out of that if factor and still moving forward with everything that you want to do?
In all honesty, I have a kid, I have a son at home, and I still got to provide for him. And I mean, I'm not done. Like it is more than it's more than just a 9 to 5, if you will. Like it's always been more than that. And honestly, like I get back as much as like as I give to people, and so like I think I'll probably be well into my 80s. I'm halfway there already. I've been doing hair about half of my life. I'm almost
Oh
48.
wow.
So I've been doing hair. I know I've been doing hair a long time. So like honestly, I've done other stuff, but I don't really see. I mean, I've been dabbling. Like I'll kind of touch a little bit. I've been writing a book for the last 10, 11 years. So my hope is that that will get me where I can tour the country and like speak on to like women's groups. My main goal someday in my life is to be a TEDx speaker. And so like doing hair just isn't all that I have to offer. Like I know I have like a lot more. So it's not the end all for me, but for right now, for the next 10 or 15 years, it's definitely like I'll be doing this. I don't see myself doing anything else. So yeah.
I feel like some of the guests that I have got been able to speak with, and also hearing it from you right now, that barbering gives you the opportunity, to stand behind a chair and walk away from the chair. As far as like you can
Yeah.
still have position to be there, but
Yeah.
it gives you space to collectively do a lot of other things.
Right.
So where
Flexibility.
yeah, where you was at somewhere else or a corporate job, you wouldn't have that
No.
type of freedom. That yeah.
No. No, I mean, it is nice to have that. Like, I'm a creative like you, and, so we get to be very creative. I get to wear, whatever I want. I can talk, relatively whatever I want. It's just me in the shop. And eventually, whenever, it's time for me to retire, then I have a book of clients that, I would love to pass on the torch to another young barber or Cosmo or something like that. And it's just like creating a vibe. Like, people always ask me, I have about an 800 square foot space where I'm at right now. And I totally have room where I could have at least two other barbers or Cosmos. But in all honesty, I love not having that. Like I have a room over here to my left that literally just has like a couch. It has a gaming system. And then I'm sitting in like my main living kind of space. And it's like, do I want to have somebody else in here where I got to hear them jaw jacking and all that? Like, no, like I'm content within myself and my clients, making them feel comfortable, just shutting that door, and what stays in here, what we talk about stays in here, doesn't go anywhere else. So I love that. So
It's funny that because that was one of my questions as well. That I'm starting to hear a lot, and I understand, and I don't want anyone to take it like in the negative form. Um, but it's just everybody's opinion, not opinion, but it's like free will. Like you are capable of with being a barber to
yeah,
not just be stuck
right.
in one. So growing up like for yourself being in
Yeah,
salons or
yeah,
watching your family be in salons, you saw what the salon
yeah,
atmosphere, and it can be good and it can be bad depending on who comes in there, who you're dealing with, and stuff like
right,
that. Barbershop same way. Being a barber owner, they deal with a lot of situations that could be good or bad. Same for the salon owner.
right,
So now you have the opportunity where a lot of these salon suites are popping up. So it's giving people the free will to say, okay, yeah, I worked in the salon, I worked at the barbershop. Now I want to have my own business
right. Yeah,
at here.
yeah,
Now you're having a lot of like bickering and back and forth, like
right,
people that salon or the salon suites don't know how to live it or manage their real what this industry really means, like being at a salon or being at a
right.
barbershop. And people like, no, I don't need to be in a barbershop to contain or build
Nah,
my yeah. So what
yeah.
like I
No,
know
it's
you've been in both worlds, so
right.
like yeah.
I mean, it's nice because it's like if you don't want to do like what I've done, where I have like, I have some overhead now where like the salon suite would be something where if somebody's doing booth rent or commission stylist and they want to try their hand at ownership, it's a great way to kind of like get in that and not like be where, I've signed a 2-year lease, I've got, overhead and things like that. So it's a nice way to get into it. And also, like, if you don't want to deal with the BS of having like, I mean, I don't know really. I mean, I guess there was some BS in the barber shop. It was not as catty as honestly, like in a salon where you have a bunch of women kind of bickering and stuff. Again, that's probably going to piss off a lot of people. So my apologies. However, it happens, and I admit I was one of those too. But I do feel like if you don't have to have that, like it's like it's just about you and the client. Like it's just like, playing baseball or whatever. It's just like me and the catcher. Like we're just playing, a game. Like we're just having like I'm doing your hair. It's just us. And I don't need to have, the other barber or the other Cosmo or whatever, and their people and their kids and everybody coming around. So I really like the fact that the salon suites offer that, or can offer that. I've gone to salon suites to get, micro pigmentation done. There's lots of it. I see they're popping up everywhere. My town doesn't have one, but I definitely think our town can have one. Like it's big
Okay.
enough to support that. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, let's get
All
into it.
right.
Let's talk the things that you're noticing that makes you a proud um, individual in this industry, and you want to see not per se just women only, but
Yeah,
everyone joins in this industry to capitalize and move it
yeah.
forward. What are the things that you love seeing so much right now within our industry?
You know, I love, I will say I have bullet points. So if you reference what question that is, I'll be able to get to it here. So if you have a question or which number that is, I'll get to it. Um,
I,
but
I'm just pulling, I'm winging it right.
doggone it, doggone it. I was gonna be so prepared. Oh my goodness. I like that there's so many different like varieties, and it's kind of cool like seeing so many younger people because like when I was growing up, the typical barbershop, what I remember is the old man with a lab coat, the white lab coat, and you got all the rows of the guys, and then you've got like the patrons or the clients that are waiting. And it was just a different vibe. And now it's younger and it's women too. Like
Yeah,
again, when I was growing up, women didn't get into barbering. We were like the Cosmos. We call them beauticians, or if you want to go old school,
yeah.
it was called beauty operators. And oh my goodness, my old ladies would call me that, and I'm not that. But yeah. So I mean, I really do like that. It's an industry for everybody. Like it does seem like it is kind of catering towards the younger people. So often I feel like I'm even getting kind of axed out slightly because like I don't see a whole lot of 40 something year old women doing like what I'm doing. But again, I'm not doing it for anybody else other than like I'm just trying to, I always say I'm just trying to put food on the table is really what I'm trying to do. And so I'm not trying to like get like where I have like this huge following or doing like these Instagram like videos, how a lot of these people are and stuff like that. I mean, it's cool for them. Like I'm tech savvy, but I'm not that tech savvy. So
I,
yeah.
I love that you spoke on the age bracket
Yeah.
because one of the reasons why I created my platform is because I'm someone that's in that bracket of being older
Yep.
than some of the coming in now,
Yeah.
and um, I'm still on the
Yeah.
cuff of it because I be somewhat still in the realm of the social media presence world, so I'm not
Yeah.
too like spread it
Remove.
removed from it. So, but for me, like exactly like I was stating to you earlier, like coming from a whole different realm of being in the corporate world to now transitioning into this world, and then also being way older, and then capitalize on it the way that I feel like is best fits me.
Right.
My, people that are my age that are deciding to say, hey, I always wanted to get in the hair industry, but I didn't think, my age or if I can cross
Right.
over
Right.
that way. I'm trying to show them that you have the opportunity to can, and
Right.
you know, don't have to, like you said, you don't have to be on the internet, or you don't have to be doing
No,
crazy comedy videos, but
right.
you still do something where you're sharing your journey that might be someone like yourself or someone out there that's still in our age bracket that said, okay, I can do this, I can cross over,
Right.
I can't.
I mean, if they can, I can too. And you don't have to like, we don't need to fit inside of a box. Like I love like I look at you and I thought, oh, I'm not going to say he's just a barber, but I did think, okay, you're a barber. And so when we spoke today, I love the fact that you're doing that crossover program so you can be more diverse and like offer different
Yeah,
things, you know? And so like, I don't know. I just think that that's great because there's a lot of money to be made in our industry, but there's so much more that you can do. And I mean, I do think if I keep, if you keep on doing clipper cuts all damn day or skin fades, you get burnout, not to mention the repetition, your shoulders and everything like that. So throwing a little bit more variety and then being able to offer that to your client, instead of them going to Joe Blow down the street because you can't do, or you don't feel confident doing such and such, service, they can get it from you. So it's really, so you can be a jack of all trades, but the master of them all and not just master of some. So,
correct.
you know? Yeah.
And for me, like I always try to take on tasks that I know that I can do. And if I feel like I can do it well over time, I'll tell my customers that, I'm learning this process. I'm not great at it,
Right.
but I can't offer this service, and I might won't charge you what somebody else might
Right.
charge you on the base point of what I feel like I can give you. And or maybe do a freebie at that one
Yeah.
point, just if they like to
Yeah.
serve. And if they say, "Oh yeah, this is good. I want to continue this," then you can work and go, "Okay, well, I'm still learning this,
Right.
but I'm charge you what this person might charge.
Right.
I'll charge you this." Over time, once I feel like I'm getting better, you can see that I'm getting
Yeah.
better, then we can adjust the price point and go from there.
Right.
So never be afraid to try something, but
Not
don't try everything if you're not great at it. You know what I mean?
right. No.
Yeah.
I did that. I did that a couple of weeks ago. I had a gentleman that moved here from New York, and he wanted to get a beard trim, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't want to get a shampoo and all that," and he wanted me to shampoo his beard. And I've been wanting to offer camo to people, to do camo color. And I was like, "Well, how the hell am I going to do that in the shampoo bowl?" And so then I had a couple clients. And I said, "Do you mind if I just like shampoo your beard?" And I don't have a steamer, so that's one thing I want to get. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I just put the guy, and I got my towels all nice and steamy, but I didn't have the steamer. But nonetheless, that's something I want to start offering. It's not going to be a whole lot of extra revenue for me, but again, just something else that they can click on. And if they really want to like spoil themselves or really just, let me get in there and scrub it all and probably feels good. So I don't know, just one more thing that I can do, because I'm probably, yeah. So anyway, it's kind of fun that you could do that.
No,
So
I agree. I mean, the that's the most fun part about being in this industry, and especially if you're looking at it coming from a creative aspect of it, and then not just
yeah,
saying that trying to make a quick buck. And
right.
like when I look at social media, not saying everybody on social media, but I feel like a lot of things that's being shown now is like, oh, I did this haircut and I charged them $250 for it, where it's
Like what?
not.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Like what did you give your clients anything? Like for me, like I always say, like you can like when I used to work from home, like I was a stay-at-home mom for like 13 years. People came to me in my garage and it was hot as hell in there. And they could have been coming to me because it was a cheap haircut. I had no overhead at the time, so they just came to me. But I gave them something, obviously, and they could have gone anywhere, but they chose me. So I don't want somebody coming to me like I feel like it's the whole package. So $250, like that to me, that's not sustainable. I don't pay $250 to get my hair done. And for guys, you're a week or 2 or 3 weeks, over time. Like, who can afford that?
Correct.
Who can afford that? Like, that's cool. Like, I don't know. I can't afford that. So,
Now,
yeah,
what I like the most of what you said about that is about customer presence and customer service, like
yeah,
everything. And I feel like once you can deliver a conversation without being
yeah,
had, like
yeah.
forcing it,
Forced.
then it's not natural.
Right.
It's not. Or but
Yep.
once you get someone in your chair and just feel free, and
Like a friend.
that's when you know that you got someone that is like, okay, I'm
Yep.
here for the cut. but I'm also here for the connection that we
Right.
build.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, because let's be honest, not everybody wants to go to a therapist and, sitting on a therapist's couch. But you know what? If you've ever gotten into a barber chair or Cosmo chair, like it does feel like a therapist. And if somebody does listen, they're engaging, they're empathetic, it I don't know. It just it's that connection, and maybe that's the only connection that they're going to get for a month. I'm going to make sure that it's a good one. That they leave happy, that they got a solid haircut, and that they feel like I listened to them, they were heard, and I don't know,
yeah.
call it good at the end of the day. So
Um, so you know what's funny? I know that you've been looking over the questions that I sent you, and you probably, but we've been speaking on a lot of it without even touching, like me saying, okay, this is the question I'm gonna go into. Like you already talked about financing, what finance
yeah,
do you? We spoke about social media. So when like that's the what I'm getting off. Like when you connecting with
yeah.
someone and you making
Yeah, you don't
that
even need the
yeah,
papers, they're here, but you don't necessarily need them. And I think, you and I, we probably can just talk, and it's like, you have to have that kind of personality. Like I've met girls that like went into the hair
yeah,
industry and they can't hold on a conversation to save their life,
yeah,
so you got to kind of have that anyway. So I wanted to be better prepared. I didn't want to just shoot from the hip,
yeah.
so I mean, and that's okay. I mean, I got them here in case I need to reference, but it's all good. So it's,
Uh,
yeah,
I love it. I love it because
yeah.
it's funny because I'll send people the question and they'll send it back and they're like, I filled it out and I'm like, no, it's not like that. I just want you to give awareness that where these questions might go, so you don't feel like this like out of pocket. You don't feel like
Like
okay, yeah,
type of thing. Yeah. And I'll be honest, like I first started writing them down and like the answers, because I've been, like I said, I've been writing a book. And so when I answered the questions, it was in book form. And even though I had it like number 1 through 13 or 14, I still was like in book form. And my boyfriend Justin is like maybe you need to have bullet points, and that way, because I was like gonna print it off, and like, but and like how I wrote it,
yeah,
it was like as if I'm writing a
yeah,
book,
yeah.
and like using good punctuation and all that. And I'm like, no. So here I've got my chicken scratch, and it's just like what, but it's all good. This is fun, and it gives me like a chance to like, it really made me think a little bit too, because when you're going through the day to day, and I went from like being a booth renter for 4 years, and I jumped right into, like in a matter of a couple of months into opening up my own shop. So I really haven't had a moment to like breathe. So it was really neat to like get those questions and like really think and be like, wow, okay. So it was cool. I really liked it.
Now
It was kind of cool. Eye opening.
let's speak on that
Okay.
because a lot of people that are deciding to, leave the booth situation,
Yeah.
maybe go to, which is almost still similar, but you're more confined into your own
Right.
space. And then some are looking to go into ownership. So, how each stage for yourself, how did you feel and how did you prep yourself to start maneuvering in those situations?
Yeah, really in 2020 during the pandemic, I knew I was gonna make a move. And so a couple of things I did. I first just got started like really paying attention. Like one thing that I started doing, that when I first moved to Minnesota, I had a chip on my shoulder, I mean, as Californians, we get kind of a bad rap sometimes of being a little on the self-centered side, and I certainly was. And so once I dropped that chip off my shoulder and I really started listening to like what Minnesotans love, which is like hunting and plaid, and somebody give me a thumbs up, woohoo, or you, I don't know. But once I really started like listening, I felt like I really started connecting with clients more, instead of just being like, oh, I'm Carrie from Cali, that type of thing. Like I really started getting like, where I'm in Minnesota now, like I brought my kids here, this is where I'm at, and just like I started connecting. So anyway, so that was like first and foremost, is like listening to
Yeah.
people instead of like listening to, or like responding to, like listening to respond. So that was really good. Got good at my craft. One thing that you should do that can get you into some trouble is if you have a contract. So my contract was no compete, and I had to have that no competition removed. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
and even that, yeah, that's a big thing. Like if you don't pay attention to that, that will get you into where they can seek out legal ramifications on you. So be really careful about that. Read the fine print. If you don't read that, it almost got me into trouble. It almost did. But anyway, so that was a big thing. And then just going over like the bylaws for me, again, being a Cosmo, I had to have a shampoo bowl if I was going to be a one person, I think, situation. So I have one shampoo bowl in here. If I had somebody else working with me, I'd have to, I think, get another shampoo bowl. So some things like that that I had to follow what my state regulations were. And then there was basically just like a checklist of all the things I had to do, and I had to like kind of print out like a picture, a diagram of certain things. And if state board comes in, I have to have certain things on a wall, which still think is kind of weird how they do that, but anyway. So yeah, and the proper licenses, and then the fictitious name, that was something too. I had to do because I'm not just under my name, I'm under I created a
Correct.
name. So yeah, paying attention to all that kind of stuff, but really just check your state for the laws and whatnot is a huge thing, and following that, and then finding the right spot. That was one thing too, that when I first started looking in 2020, plumbing was an issue. Like I found one spot that would have been perfect, but the plumbing was like 14 feet away. And I don't know if you know a plumber, but plumbing is expensive. And so anyhow, that was a huge thing. So, but yeah, do your homework.
Now I'm glad you shared that because people that work at a salon or a barbershop, they don't think about some of the overhead process that they might have to transition once they say, okay,
Right.
I can't deal with
Yeah.
this person. I can't deal with the owner. He's acting
Right.
too much. And then when they go on their own and start seeing what's the other things that they didn't have to really worry about, then they're like, oh
Yeah.
shoot, and then it's getting overwhelming. 'Cause especially if when you're in the salon, you're not being marketed as far as the way it is for when you're a barber, because you see the barber pole, you see the barber sign, or salons the same thing. Like if you go, I mean, from what I see out here, you have Phoenix. I forgot the other.
Solo,
Huh?
JC, Solo and
So
JC. Those are big ones too.
so they don't really market you the same way.
Right.
I've seen like you being marketed if you had a private, or not private,
Right.
public kind of concept barbershop or
Right.
salon. So more of the foot traffic, more of the marketing and all that stuff is kind of based on how you push it out there. So
Yeah.
you live and you learn. You learn
Yeah.
over here, learn over there. So
Well, yeah.
I'm
And then another thing too is I became friends, like, okay, friends. I started, I always do a quotes, but Facebook friends, you start to become friends with your clients on Facebook and stuff. So then, like one thing, you just got to make sure that they know. And also too, when you get ready to separate from your shop,
yeah,
basically once you tell them you're leaving, you're done. They lock you out of the lock. They lock you out. So there's no way of communicating. So that was another thing. I made sure that like my clients knew my number, on my business card, even though it was like their name of the barbershop, I had my phone number down there. So that way they had reference, or if say one day they texted the barbershop and Carrie couldn't do something or do someone's hair, they at least they had like my phone number,
correct.
which sometimes isn't always great, but that was like a better transition for me versus them calling up the barbershop and being like, hey, is Carrie there? And they're going to always say no, oh, I don't know where she went, even though I'm in the same town. So, just really just make sure you've got that where they know how they can reach you.
Yeah,
So I created like a Facebook page that had like my little catchphrase, Carrie from Cali. So that way it's like, oh, okay, I know how to find her. And that's kind of where I blasted myself when I did leave. And thankfully I was doing everything. I had everything legally. I had my plumbing. I had everything set up. So then when I did say I was leaving, I literally started the next day,
yeah.
which was crazy. But I was glad I did everything I did, because otherwise I would have been like, shoot. So I'm coming up on 1 year of being here, and so it's kind of cool. It's like what they say, 5 years. I think in the business is when you can finally. So I got 4 more years, and then I can take a sigh, breathe
Now,
a sigh.
from every detailed information that you share, especially within that conversation right there, you were sharing great marketing details, and
Yeah,
also great customer service details, because you're letting your customers also know that you're transitioning, but you
yeah,
gave the opportunity to stick with you or share your information, deliver. because you're communicating with them, and
Right.
then this is definitely a communicative based
Right.
workmanship between each other. So for you to now transition and be on your own and doing the things that you're doing, the sky's the limit. You just keep pushing it forward, and you've been in the industry for a while, so you
I kind of
yeah.
know. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. You wouldn't go to like a doctor and then them leave the practice and then, be like, well, oh, like where am I going to go next? Like whenever a doctor leaves the practice, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm a doctor of hair, just like
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
But, they sent out a letter, and so that's like what I did. I blasted on email. I did emails because I had emails too. And then I did kind of like a canned response on text messages just saying, hey, thank you for, always seeing me at such and such shop. I appreciate, your time and whatever. And hey, I'd love to get you in my new shop. If not, or whatever. I said something like that. Like I didn't take them away, but I just said, hey, I previously saw you over here. I'm moving. Either way, great to know you type of thing. And I would say at the beginning when I first branched off, it was probably like 85% followed. You got to be careful. Like not everybody's going to follow,
Yeah.
and I was really concerned too because I was in a barber shop and I was like, are they just there for the barbershop experience? Even though we were like a unisex barbershop, it wasn't like, like we had a pole, but it wasn't like, like the traditional barbershop, if you will. It was just me and another gal. And so it was different, but I was concerned with that. So, but again, now I'm at like 99% of people that I had followed me. And like I said, I'm 2 weeks booked out. This morning I had two available haircuts to fill and I'm doing 5 days this week.
Okay.
So only two. Now I'm done. I got nothing left. I'm in Vegas on the weekend and then, I got nothing left. So, it's a great feeling. It really, really is. It's hard though. And that was one of your questions too, as far as balancing personal and business,
Yeah.
I'll
I'll
go into that real
go
quick.
get that.
I know, but that's really hard, right? Because we're yes people and you want to please everybody. And I want to make sure that I can get you in. And when you text me and I'm like, where can I fit you in? I've come in as early as 2 hours before my client, before my work hours, because I'm like, how can I start stacking people up? Like either stay late or I come in early.
Yeah.
But then that takes away from, my morning routine or it takes away from like my dinner routine with my family. So it's a really hard balance. It's
Yeah.
not, it's hard. I'm not just clocking out at 5 p.m. how some people do. I'm still getting text messages, until 10 o'clock at night or texting you at 3 in the morning. Sorry, my bad. That was totally accidental.
I love that transition into that because I definitely wanted to ask you that question as well. And it's a lot of things that I feel that it's not being shared or spoken on a lot, and it's our mental and our health as well dealing with this industry because we're always on
Yeah.
hand, and it's definitely hard to take time away knowing that you got to be there to make the money that you want to make, but you also got to be a way to make sure your
Yeah.
sanity, your health, and your mental is on peace mode, especially when you have other priors of your livelihood that you have to deal with too.
Right.
You have a child, you have a significant other that
Right.
wants of your time and an opportunity for you guys to travel and do things,
Yeah.
and you're telling him no, I have this whole month booked up. Like,
Yeah.
how do we all in this industry, how do we
Yeah.
deal how,
It's
how yeah.
it's hard, like one thing I will say, I always schedule myself 45 minutes during the day for a lunch break.
Okay.
And so I used to not do that and I honestly, I gotta have that. Like I always pack myself a cold, like a salad from home, and I sit in my little spare room, and that's my time to either plan. I always say plan social media or have social media time. I don't talk to people on the phone that time. Um, I don't like I turn off my lights, I do the close sign. I don't want anybody bothering me. Like that is my time because like we're empaths and like, I mean, I go home and I've talked for 15 to 20 people with 15 to 20 people a day. So they, I've talked and I've listened, and again, I'm absorbing. And so when I go home, I don't really have a whole lot more to give. So, like for me, I got to have that like downtime. So that's huge. I just got back from Mexico. My son and I went to Mexico in the end of January. So I booked myself out a week vacation every year, and I have like my notice on my, and I did this the last 4 or 5 years. I've traveled more since living in Minnesota than back home in California. So it's great. And I'm like, you know what? I mean, a corporate job might pay me PTO. So the way I do it is, and this kind of goes into one of your questions too, is like saving for taxes, saving for vacations. Like we have a lot of cash and credit cards every day. You got a lot, sometimes you got lots of dollars coming through, and sometimes it's all in credit cards. So what I do is I have like all of my cash I have divvied up into like envelopes that are Christmas, vacation, taxes. I have a couple other things like say if I need new tires or whatever. And every day what I try to do is put all my cash and I divvy it up into each envelope, and so that way I'm still allotting myself, because when you have all that cash, you think, oh my God, I can go to the Marshalls, or, I can buy this or that or whatever. And at the end of the day, you still got to pay your taxes. You still got other bills to pay. So that's one thing that's like when I go on my vacations, I give myself a weekly salary. Like I've already like right now, every money, all the cash that I have, like, I divvy it up between the envelopes. And then, like when I was in Mexico, I gave myself a certain amount. Like I had enough that way all the bills that came out, because the bills still keep coming out even though I'm not here cutting hair. So, you lose some money. I do. I probably lost a day or two of work, but because how I worked it out, I make it where it's like I gave myself PTO every day. I'm putting 20 to 40 bucks in those envelopes, and so by the end of, the next year, I generally have close to maybe 1,500 to $2,000. Pop it in there, and that just goes towards like whatever bills were going to come out anyway. So it's like I feel like I managed that. Same with taxes. That's one thing they don't teach us, I think, enough of in school, is to make sure you pay your quarterly taxes. So
They never do.
yeah, I'm like, what? What quarterly taxes?
Still said the
Yeah,
same. When I was in high school, I was like, why was economics an elective course for
I
me?
know.
And it should have been 4 year,
Right.
yeah. And,
Yeah, so dumb. It should be. Yeah, it should be something we talk about more
and
of.
then
So
even in our hair industry, they don't tell you about they tell you about the money you can get, but they never tell you about what you're gonna have to distribute here, what you're gonna have to save here at the end of the term, how you need to make sure you have money aside for your taxes and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
but a lot of us, not me per se, because I'm a little bit older and I think differently, but a lot of younger people especially now with social media, gives you a persona like, oh, I could just make all this money and I don't need to worry
right,
about saving because I'm gonna be an influencer and then I'm gonna get branded by a Clipper
right.
or
Yeah,
shear company and they gonna pay
yeah.
all this money. So it's like, why do I need? It's not nobody really on here talking about
Not at all.
financial leadership and stuff like that. So
They should though. I mean, because it could all go away. I mean, look at what happened. What was it last week when Facebook and Instagram were down?
right,
Like, I
and
know. I was like, oh my God, I
it's
got hacked.
funny. Like I always wonder, like what would because I come from a world that this didn't mean nothing. So I always wonder, like, okay, what it would happen if all this shut down and how people really will have to react into the actual world because it's like people are able to communicate through this but not able to really
Right,
communicate in live situations. So
right.
I
Exactly. Yeah, it kind of showed us something, that I think we rely too much on social media,
yeah,
because of when that happened, we were all like, oh, I mean, when that happened, you're like, what am I going to do? Like, especially if you got your business that people book through. Like I have, you can book for me like through social media platforms, but also my exterior website. But if you only
yeah,
had it where it was through social media and social media was down, well, you can't work now. People can't book. So let that be
right,
a lesson to not have all your eggs in one basket. So
100%.
mhm.
Um, we talked about financing. We talked about personal health. Um, we talked about relate we spoke a little bit about relationship between your other or your
Yep.
children and stuff like that's one point down one. um if I know for me, and like what you say, you're seeing a lot of women that are coming in this industry as far as women from the beauty side that's more taking control in the barbering
Yeah.
the industry. Um, I know it was definitely, male compete
Yeah.
competition thing with guys
Yeah.
in this industry. Do you feel like you're starting to see the same with women in this industry where they're, or you feel like women are more like we're more connected, we're helping each other pushing, or do you feel like it's still competitive, still,
I
work?
feel like it's pretty
Yeah.
competitive. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I definitely feel like it's more competitive. I've been told before from people like, "Oh, you're just a cosmetologist. You're just a Cosmo. You're not a barber," and that's from women. No
Oh,
guys have told me that.
oh,
No, no other. Yeah, it's been women. So and women, we kind of can be that way. Like when a woman dresses, we're generally not dressing for a man. No, some men might go, "Wow, I love that
yeah,
shirt." But a woman will. I mean, if I see a girl and her hair or her shirt, I'm gonna comment.
yeah,
I mean, a guy might again, I don't know. But anyway, no, I would love to make it where like we just are under one umbrella. Like in California, I was under the barbering and cosmetology. That's who I paid my license to. Even though I wasn't a barber, it was like one entity. Out here in Minnesota, it's separate. And then yeah, like I said, like a lot of the women, because I do cater to men, I can't say I'm a barber because I do not have that licensure. However, being barber trained, like, yeah, I didn't go to barber college. I didn't do all that, but I got a lot like of what, I feel like as far as all the barbers that I know, I feel like I got a great deal of it. Plus I have the Cosmo side of it. But yeah, I mean, if we can just like start like maybe like loving and respecting the whole industry as a whole instead of like putting us in a box, like let's stop segregating, like we're done with that. Let's like put it in like a whole, like it's wide
yeah,
range, and I just wish that like we can do that, or people would just drop the guard and be like, you're no better than me and I'm no better than you. I'm good in my area of where I'm at, but like, in LA or somewhere like a big area, I wouldn't. Like I know I couldn't because and that's like me being honest. Like I deal with like a certain kind of clientele and demographic here that, I'd have to do a lot of training, but I know I could, but I'm not there, so I'm never gonna lie about it. But let's just like drop the just I don't know. To me, it's just like nonsense a lot of time, just let's just like just be here supporting each other. And it's an industry and there's lots of colors of the rainbow, and let's just like literally just spread goodness. It doesn't have to be that it's like I'm better than you and I'm charging that $200 or whatever. And or like, a lot of people out here, they complain about, the great clips or the super cuts and stuff like that. And it's like, those are still people in the industry. Maybe they're not ready to branch off and do a solo suite or to be an owner or to do booth rental, but maybe that's all they have right now, but they're still providing for their family.
correct.
They're no different than you and I. Like I've worked at those places before. I have. Sometimes that's what you have to do. After not working for 13 years, I had no clients, so that's where I had to go. And and it was fine. I mean, I'm grateful I don't have to do that now, just because I can't fit inside that box. Like I don't want to hide my arms and my tattoos. I don't want to wear fancy clothes. Like I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
I like to be more expressive, but for people that are okay with that and have to do that, by all means. I'm never going to talk garbage about them because they're still putting food on the table. It's just the same as I am. They're just doing it a different
yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah. I had a friend, good friend of mine. He's been in the industry for a long time. He capitalized on his in his barber industry in Las Vegas, and then restructured more out here. And then when he wanted to like really manifest and build the corporate side, he started working at one of the salons to understand the breakage of how they do, how they structure stuff,
Yeah.
how they sell products and stuff like that. So
Okay.
it gave him a just a different outlet and understanding of like how to maneuver
Yeah.
the industry. So
Yeah.
it can go hand in hand. It doesn't always have to be in a negative form.
Not at all. Not at all. And I get that, people think that it's less than if you go to one of those places. But you know what? There's some people that if they just have a basic need, like a basic haircut, nothing like no frills or whatever, and they, need to get in at, 8 o'clock in the morning and that works for them, then by all means, but for the other people that have the time and they want to book out, 2 or 3 weeks ahead and have that 30-45 minutes with somebody and have that rapport and that consistency, then that's where they're going to come to you and myself,
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's great because they have that option, like some places, some countries, they don't have that.
Yeah.
It's like, but we live in a great country that we can.
Yeah.
So why not?
Um, one last thing, and then I'm gonna head into my other question. It's my final question, and I think you probably wrote a paragraph on this as well.
I
So,
probably did.
um, knowing what you know now and everything that you've been through your journey in this industry, what would you share with your younger self, or what would you share with someone that's transitioning into this amazing bracket of a industry and don't have the support factor that some people might need to like keep going. Sometimes you have people with a negative form of, are you trying to do hair? Are you trying to do that? Like everything, which is not positive, but in themselves, they can see they're manifesting something great because they love artistry, they love hair, but they don't have someone that's telling them that, you
The
can't
support.
career out of this. Like, what would you say to them?
Right.
Yeah.
I would say like go with your gut. Like if you've always like, colored outside the box, which I did too. Like I color good, but I like to scribble outside the lines. Like if you did that and if people told you, it's those people that say no, like I mean, F them really, on all honesty. Like, do what makes you happy, do what feeds your soul. Like, if I did what I probably, like what I mean, I guess when I was growing up, it wasn't like college wasn't like super pushed or whatever. So I mean, I did go to college, but not like, I mean, I got like an associate's, which is cool, but like, I don't know. I just knew that that was never going to like make me happy. So do what makes you happy. And if somebody has something like an opinion, that is their right to have that opinion, but you do what's going to make you happy. I mean, a lot of us, this is like our second and third career, and it's like, even if you don't fall into this, like, when I got into it young or whatever, whenever you fall into, this career, like it's a great career, whether or not you make the six figures, like, some of us are, or you make less. Hey, it's a career. You're feeding the kids at home. You got a roof over your head, and if you're doing something that you love, then it's not a job, and do it. And I mean, really, if you don't see yourself going to like a 9 to 5 and sitting at a cubicle and looking at that computer screen and talking on the phone doing whatever, then do what does feed your soul. Like I've done that before and it's cool. Every so often I'll think, oh, is there something else I'd want to do? And I think back to when I did that and I go, nope, that's not for me. That is not for me.
Yeah.
So do what makes you happy. You only got one life.
Cool.
So
We
yeah.
only have we only have one life, and you got to live it to your best way you can.
Yep.
Lead it to that. That's a perfect way into my next question.
Yeah.
Uh, Law of attraction,
Ooh.
or yourself personally, or things that you have put out there as far as captivating your industry in this layer, or for someone else. How do you work or live through law of attraction for yourself?
I love that. I read a book a couple of years ago and can I give her a
Sure.
plug? Can I say that? Okay, yeah.
Like
I'm just making
everybody.
sure. I don't want it to be where she's like, oh, I need the rights now. No, she's her name is Sarah Centrella, and I read her book like in a week. And she talks about the law of basically manifestation. And when I started reading that book, I literally just did what she said, or what I took as it. And I got a cork board, and she said, get pictures of, go on Pinterest or Google, whatever, and get pictures that are relatable in basically 5 different categories. And I did that. And I think 3 of my 5 categories have come true. And basically what I did was I used to have that board like in my room. Right now it's in my spare room over here. And, I put up stuff, like stuff that I wanted or saw. Like at one point I had like a hair salon or something that looked like a hair salon, whether it was like, it had like a stylish chair. I have and I have 2 different categories, and like one is with love, one is like I had like my feet in this, like not my feet but someone's feet in the sand, like a convertible and a couple of those things. Like I mean, I've done Mexico the last 4 or 5 years now. I'd have a Jeep that I push the top and the top goes all the way back. So that's my convertible. I got like the love of my life. I got my shop. I'm writing my book. I just gotta probably self-publish that this year, maybe next year. But anyway, like I believe it. Like I put it out there and looking at it. So whether it be like when I was sitting watching TV, I'd have an opportunity to look at the board and look at it. And like in her book, she said you gotta like look at the pictures and really get something that looks visually stimulating, but something that like you can imagine it was you. And that's what I did. I would just look at those and I'd be like, yeah, that's my feet in the sand. Yeah, that's my hand. That's got my hand up in the convertible. And I did it. And if you too, like you speak it like it's going to happen. Like I tell everybody, I tell people in the shop, I'm writing a book, which I am. I've got like, 30, 40,000 words. I still got a little bit more words to go. I tell people I'm going to be a TEDx speaker. I live it. I say it as if it's happening. And they might look at me like I'm crazy, but you know what? Like if I don't speak it, like it can't happen if I don't say it. It's not just going to go if it's just in my head. So I say it as if it's really going to happen. And I'm just waiting. Ed Milet, he's my favorite podcaster. Like I hope he calls me. And thank you for that thumbs up, whoever did that, or I don't know, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just if you can dream it, it'll happen.
Yeah.
Why not? You're
Some,
you're your worst critic. Like, that's
Sometimes
it.
I don't even dream it, and I see it in it. Like I'm not. Maybe I am in somewhat way, but I have like. It's funny. I be having like these premonitions, but and then it doesn't happen like right away. But like I feel like maybe like a year or two later, I walk into a situation and I'm like, why does this feel so familiar? Like even when
Because you
I
dreamt it.
yeah no, yeah and it's funny. I always have dreams that I'm in going in like I'm back in high school for some reason. I don't know why, but I had a dream that I was going to a school and I could see the school like so vivid, like the color. I can almost smell it and everything. And like when and this was before I even decided to go back to school for barbering. And when I was searching and going through the state board listing of schools and stuff and calling them up, and I finally found one that was like local, and I was like, okay, let me go up here and then just see what it's about. And I could see myself walking like not from the just like in real life. Like I'm driving up and I'm like, okay, why is this gate and this area looks so familiar? And then
Yeah.
I go into school and then I could see the color and the seating, and then I'm like, hey, this feels so familiar. And then
Wow.
talked to the lady about the tuition and stuff, and finally decided to sign the paperwork and pay my first fee. And then like I say maybe like a month into the school when I sat down and I looked around and I said, "Oh, I had a dream about this school," because it was just
Ah,
yeah, and it
it
was
was like Oprah light bulb moment. That's what I call it. The Oprah light bulb moment. You're like, yep, I did this. And you gotta I think give praise where you should, but like I had that same thing like on my vision board and I'm like, oh my God, I've literally done like three of these five things that like I put them up there and you don't know like when it's happening. Like for you, it's kind of cool because you see it when it
yeah.
happened. Like I remember one time I went back home and I visited like my family and I rented a car. And when I got there, I was like, you know what? Let's upgrade to a convertible. And they happen to have it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, that's in my like never did I want a convertible. Like I don't really care for them, but like and then that was like my first one. I was like, oh my God, I just got the convertible. And then when I bought my Jeep Wrangler, and it literally has like this feature that's called the one touch, and you push the button. Like right now, I will when I'm done here, I'll put like my sunglasses on, my hat on, and push the button and the convertible goes back. So like I'm already living it, but I mean it feels great. And I'm always thankful like cuz it could all be taken away. Like I always say especially being from California and the homelessness that's there and out here in Minnesota it's not as prevalent and I always have told people like we're all like literally one paycheck away from like losing it all. Like during COVID time when we all lost our paychecks,
You're
that
right.
was rough.
Yeah.
You felt it. We could have, yeah, if we weren't smart with our money, we could have been there on the streets. So it's like I never live like as if it could all be taken away tomorrow. Like if I hurt myself, like if my wrists give out, if my shoulder, if I get like a issue there, like I can't cut hair, so
It's crazy that you said that because it's this guy, and I don't know, I can't think of a name, but he's a barber, but he does braids.
oh,
And
is
he
he
always start
the one that goes If you can't braid, is
Yeah,
he that one? I
yeah,
love
yeah,
him. What's his name? Oh my god, he's so good. And he goes, give it a
yeah.
follow, and then he like will pay people like $100. Oh, I love him.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I seen recently I came across his page and he had one where he showed that his hand was in the cast,
yeah. He just had surgery. Yeah, I saw that
and
one.
then it
Yep.
showed went back and it showed that he went on a trip and he was doing an ATV and it flipped over and landed on his hand.
His dad just did his braids. Did you see that? He just had his dad do his braids
Yeah.
too in one of the videos. Yeah, he did pretty good. He kind of stuck up, but yeah. Okay, I didn't know how he did that. I didn't go back. So okay.
So it's crazy to know that he had to like really start all over again and be.
Right.
He was placed in a position like dang, like he was there and it could be taken away. Now I gotta learn how to use my fingers again and all that. But he was able to have someone like like his dad to come aboard and keep helping him with the videos and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But like you said,
He's
any
cool.
anything can be in a split second. You just
Yeah.
never know. So
Yeah, yeah, but being grateful for what we have and also putting it out there, like like I want like more, not like more materialistic, nothing like that. I have a house over, roof over my head. We have food on the table, but I mean, there's always something more that I think we want, but just always being grateful for what I have. So
definitely.
yeah, yeah.
Is it anybody you want to shout out? Anything you want to share with the audience or the people that tuned in? Like
Uh,
tell them about yourself again, your space. If they want to contact you, hit you up as far as making future appointments. This is
yeah.
about.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for letting me come on your live and on your platform. I hope everybody has enjoyed our time. Yeah, you can check me out. I am in Monticello, Minnesota at the Bearded Viking. You can always book online through Facebook, Instagram, or just go to thebeardedviking.net. Specializing mostly in men's styling, grooming, kids, women too, but yeah, mostly men. So yeah, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity. Thank you so
No,
much.
this was awesome. I think you delivered. You came and you delivered, and you expressed everything that I was hoping that we can do today on Monday.
Yeah, I
Uh,
appreciate it.
I'm looking forward to seeing the more amazing things that you're building with your business. I know you say you're looking forward to crossing over and fully getting that barber license.
Yep.
So
Not
yeah,
that I need it. Not that I need it. I mean, that's just for the exterior. For everybody else that's like, oh, they're not good enough or whatever, and that imposter syndrome, So we didn't get a touch on that, but maybe next time, maybe you'll have me on for a part two or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But yeah,
Like I always tell my guests, like this is never like a one time thing. Like if you have
yeah,
something that you want to share, and you're like, yo, I want to jump back on and deliver and speak. Like this is what it is. This is our this is a barber platform for people to come on that barber, hairstyle, makeup, like everything. Even though I call it talk your barber shit because I'm a
right,
barber, but
right,
it's about the beauty industry overall. That
right,
we all go hand in hand. We all need to learn from each other because
right,
since you're a cosmetologist specialist and I have questions, I can hit you up and ask
right.
you if I'm a barber and you got questions or and you need
Yeah,
advice on something, you can hit me up. And that's how
I
we keep
love it.
finding. That's how we keep
Yeah.
collectively building this bridge.
Well, I would love to have you on my TikTok. I have a nice little following over there, and I got yeah, some really fun people over there. So that'd be fun. So if ever you wanted to talk your barber shit on there, that'd be super fun, and
Yeah.
we can collaborate again. But thank you so much. It's been
It
fun.
was awesome. Thank you. Have
Awesome.
a
All
great
right.
rest of your day. I'll see you soon. All
All right. It sounds good. Thank you.
right, bye.
Bye. Bye.